All right, so we are on our last page, our last example. We're getting there. So this is very similar to what we did a second ago. We are going to consider which quadrant this is in. Between 0 and pi over 2 would be quadrant number 1. We're given what sine of theta is, and now we need to know what sine of twice that angle is. So you might be tempted to think maybe it's twice 3 over 5, but like really what does this mean? The sine of theta is equal to 3 over 5. So that means we want to know what the angle is. So remember the angle is like how much we're rotating. So we're going to rotate some amount this way, right? So that's the amount of rotation, right? This is the theta part that we want to know. Okay, if we get to pi over 2, then we've rotated up to here. So it's somewhere between 0 and pi over 2. So that my y value, right, that would be my y, this would be my y value, or another way to think of it is the length of this, the height of this triangle, right, that would be the y value, so that y is equal to 3 over 5, which is, about 0.6, so it's a little bit more than halfway. So it's going to be more than 45 degrees, right? So if we just doubled 3 over 5, let's consider that. If we doubled 3 over 5 times 2, that would be 6 over 5. That means we would say, give me an angle on the unit circle so that the y value is bigger than 1. Well, you can't, right? Because the unit circle only goes up to 1, 0 to 1. So don't just, okay, so first of all, this is not equal to 2 times the sine of theta. No, it doesn't work that way, okay? It's the sine, it's the y value for twice the angle. So what does that mean? So whatever this angle is, we're going to rotate twice as far. Okay, so we might get past here, or we might be over here. We're not quite sure exactly where we're going to end up, what our value is, but it's like rotate twice as much, and then tell me, rotate twice as much, that's the 2 theta part, then tell me what the y value is. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is, not surprisingly, is go back to the formula sheet and look up the one for sine of 2 theta. So I'll say sine of 2 theta is 2 times the sine of theta times the cos of theta. Okay, you may recall that when you look at the formula sheet, there's only one. Here we get a choice of 3 when we go to the cos. Okay, so looking at this, I got equals 2 times, hey, sine of theta, I know what it is. It's 3 over 5. So I just plunk that one in there, times 3 over 5, times, okay, now we need to figure out the cos. Okay, so this is like we did in the previous question. I go, okay, so if I'm in quadrant number 1, and I've got 3 over 5, that means that ratio would be such that my opposite side is 3, or yeah, my opposite side is 3, and my hypotenuse is 5, and so what's this side? It's going to be 4. Okay, the quadrant 1 part comes in determining, hey, it's going to be a positive 4. So in other words, my cos of the angle, cos of theta, is going to be equal to 4 over 5. So go over here, I'm going to put 4 over 5. Okay, now it's just fraction work. So I can say, okay, when I multiply fractions, I multiply all the numerators. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Over 1 times 5 times 5 is 25. And there's my answer. Okay, we're so close. All right, let's do our last one. We got cos of 2 theta here. I got so much room, I'm going to go for my thick pen. We have 3 choices to make. When we look at the 3 choices, I've got cos squared alpha minus sine squared. I got 1 minus 2. I kind of like this one. Honestly, you can use any of these 3. But what's nice about this one is that all I'm going to be using is sine of the angle, and I know it. Okay, so I'm going to pick that one. It's 1 minus 2 times the sine squared of theta. Okay, now just a little note about what does sine squared theta mean? Sine squared theta, I really wish that they had written it this way. Sine theta all squared. Because this is what it really means. Okay, and this for me mathematically is more consistent for what we do altogether. So if I know that sine of theta is equal to 3 over 5, sine squared theta, this part here, 1 minus 2, this is going to be equal to 3 over 5 squared, right? Because this is 3 over 5 inside the brackets all squared. Okay, now it's just math. It's always math. Now it's just math with fractions. Okay, 3 over 5 squared is 9 over 25. Square the numerator, square the denominator. This is going to get multiplied times 2. I can think of this as 2 over 1, and it's going to be subtracted from 1. So 2 times 9 is 18. 18 over 25. And here I have a 1 minus that. So I'm going to take my 1 and change it to 25 over 25. 25 minus 18 is 7. There is my answer. Okay, we are done. Okay, and unfortunately for today, you've been so used to you in the last few days of not using your textbook, but today you have some homework from the textbook. So make sure you bring your textbook. Make sure you bring your textbook to class, and we'll work on those. Thank you, and good night.